begin our look at sports in baseball. The Bronx Bombers and Jacoby Ellsbury have officially divorced. But don't be sad. The Pinstripers on Wednesday gave up on Ellsbury, cutting the oft-injured outfielder with more than $26 million left in his 7-year, $153 million contract. Rena, worst money ever spent. But I ain't gonna lie, I really thought he would win an MVP award in the Bronx when the Yankees got him. Ellsbury, who has not played since 2017, was released to clear a 40-man roster spot as the Yankees added 7 players to protect them from next month's Rule 5 draft. The Ellsbury and Greg Bird eras in New York are now officially over. New York also cut frequently injured first baseman Bird and left-hander Nestor Cortez Jr., designating the pair for assignment. Outfielder Estevan Florial and pitcher Davy Garcia headlined the 7 that were protected. Yankees are trimming the roster. Major League Baseball might actually be doing the same with the minor leagues. The minor leagues, as we know it, could look wildly different after 2020, but the change won't happen without a fight. The underlying professional baseball agreement between Major League Baseball and minor league teams expires after the 2020 season. Back in October, J.J. Cooper of Baseball America detailed a proposal from MLB that would eliminate roughly a quarter of all minor league teams, a quarter. The New York Times on Saturday reported the 42 teams on the proposed chopping block. Most of these clubs are at the lowest levels of affiliated teams, with 28 of the 42 teams either in rookie level or short season Class A baseball. It does sound like the Brooklyn Cyclones and the Staten Island Yankees, the rookie teams of the Mets and Yankees respectively, might still be okay, but it remains to be seen. That's the story with the Houston Astros, too, as Major League Baseball continues to investigate the scandal involving the reigning American League champions. Commissioner Rob Manfred feels confident that they are the only team involved in cheating and sign stealing to the extent that has been reported, and that includes TVs in the dugouts relaying signs and info to the hitters. The Astros could face harsh penalties once the extent of their wrongdoing has been determined. It is almost time to determine the Cooperstown class of 2020. The captain, Derek Jeter, is among 18 newcomers on the Hall of Fame ballot. He is likely to be an overwhelming choice to join former New York Yankees teammate Mariano Rivera at Cooperstown after the reliever last year became the first unanimous pick by the Baseball Writers Association of America. A 14-time All-Star shortstop and 5-time World Series champion, Jeter hit .310 with 3,465 career hits in 20 Major League seasons. He has been CEO of the Miami Marlins the past 2 seasons. Other newcomers announced Monday by the BBWAA include Cliff Lee, Josh Beckett, Jason Giambi, Paul Konerko, Rafael Furcal, Bobby Abreu, and Alfonso Soriano. My Hall of Fame ballot in the C list. Stay tuned. Time for some quick hitters from around the world of sports. We shift gears to the NBA. The Orange and Blue got their 4th win of the season Monday night, this time performing much better against the Cleveland Cavaliers, the same team that prompted a management press conference on Sunday night 2 weeks ago. We go inside the locker room for more.
You know, the thing I'm really happy about is we're starting to string together consistent efforts. And I know we lost a tough one the other night, but we had a chance to win the game. And that's what we're trying to get to, that every night we give ourselves a chance to win the game.
We've been playing really good basketball the past, 3 games now, and we just kept building on that today. Just kept building on it today. We know they came in here and beat us last time, so we took care of the job today.
I try to get it done because I'm not putting a heavy load of minutes, so I feel like if I can push myself, that's be better. I can get in shape for it.
Julius Randle was cooking, first 30-point showing in a Knicks uniform. Damian Dotson also had a huge impact since joining the rotation. The Knicks narrowly fell on Wednesday night, though, in Philadelphia as Ben Simmons hit his first 3-pointer while playing in the NBA. Oh, boy. The Knicks play San Antonio Saturday night at home and welcome the Brooklyn Nets to the Garden on Sunday night at 6 p.m. The Nets have 6 wins. They host Sacramento tonight in Brooklyn. Speaking of energy in the starting lineup, Portland got a boost Tuesday night, adding former Knicks star Carmelo Anthony to their roster. Anthony returned to the NBA and started for the Trailblazers. He scored 10 points in his debut, but looked rusty, and his plus-minus wasn't very good. Defense still a problem for one of the game's all-time great scorers. Should be a fight for Melo to return to his all-star status at 35, although Melo's second game was much better as he dropped 18 Thursday night. One great that won't be fighting again is boxing legend Floyd Mayweather. The undefeated artist said his time in the ring is finished and that he is focused on other projects, including his fast-growing chain of boxing fitness gyms and his high-profile promotion company. Nonetheless, the boxing world moves on. Who will win Saturday's heavyweight world title bout between Deontay Wilder and Luis Ortiz at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas? That's the big question. Well, Wilder, who holds the WBC world title, defeated Ortiz by 10th round knockout, TKO, in March 2018. Since then, Wilder has a split draw and a first-round KO. I'll take Wilder for the win. I think he'll make it a knockout, too. It's been a knockout of a career in NASCAR for Jimmy Johnson. Not a bad transition there, Rena. Maybe not my best, but pretty good. Are you even listening over there? I don't think so. The 7-time Cup champion, considered one of NASCAR's greatest drivers, announced Wednesday that the 2020 season will be his final full-time Cup season, riding into the sunset. On the gridiron, the 3-7 New York Jets host 6-4 Oakland Sunday at 1 p.m., while the 2-8 Giants return from the bye week in Chicago Sunday to face the 4-6 Bears. That's called riding into the sunset. On the ice, the Rangers skate tonight in Ottawa, and the Devils are in Pittsburgh. Meanwhile, the Islanders have really saved the New York City sports landscape. The Isles are 16-3-1 following Thursday night's win. The Isles have not lost, check this out, in regulation since October 11th. The 16-game point streak is the longest in franchise history. In college basketball, the Florida men are among the select few in the country still undefeated. They return to action tonight against Nevada. Their counterparts, the Florida women, the reigning A-10 champs, earned their first win of the season Wednesday night at Rose Hill, while the Rams football team will cap the regular season Saturday afternoon right here in the Bronx. And on a final sports roundup headline, you probably played with one as a kid but never knew the man by name. Kicker Fred Cox, the Minnesota Vikings all-time leading scorer and the inventor of the Nerf football, passed away Wednesday at the age of 80. The Vikings announced. Cox never missed a game in 15 seasons for the Vikings from 1963 to 1977. And in 1972, while still playing for the Vikings, Cox came up with the idea of a soft football to prevent leg injuries to kids. He and partner John Maddox, a local entrepreneur, took a mold of a full-size football and injected it with some soft foam rubber material. The result was the Nerf football. Very historic. Those are the headlines. We hit the C-list for what could be history in the making once again in Cooperstown. Mariano Rivera is the closest thing to perfection. That is clear. The game's greatest closer proved that this past summer in Cooperstown. But I'm not so sure Derek Jeter will have the same fate, although I am sure you know how I feel about the subject. So instead of spending another C-list on Jeter's place in history, I've decided to roll on a couple of bullet points and one large one right here in this space. Jeter is Mr. Perfect in life and on the diamond, regardless of what the votes may end up saying. Steroids dominated the era, and that's a reason not to hold it against Barry Bonds or Roger Clemens. It may not make it right, but other steroid users have already been celebrated, and Bonds and Clemens should get in, even if the voters keep them out once again. But in a twist, the one player that I hope gets elected this year is from my family's native Canada, the greatest Canadian-born baseball player of all time, Larry Walker. He was the reason why I wore number 33 in high school playing baseball. And bias aside, the numbers support Walker's admittance into the best club in baseball. Holdovers this year include Curt Schilling, who received 60.9% last year, Clemens 59.5%, Bonds 59.1%, and Walker 54.6%. Walker on the ballot for the 10th and final time this year, increased from 34.1% in 2018. He'll need some more love this year just to get in. A player must appear on at least 75% to gain election. Ballots must be mailed by December the 31st, and results will be announced on January 21st. Anyone elected will be inducted July 26th, along with any selections by the Hall's Modern Era Committee, which meets and votes in San Diego on December 8th. Thurman Munson and Don Mattingly would be pretty cool choices for them this year. How about all the Yankee captains at the same time? Back to Walker. Despite playing in 759 fewer games and amassing 4,572 fewer plate appearances than Derek Jeter, the longtime right fielder is one of 4 Cooperstown candidates who racked up more career wins above replacement, according to Baseball Reference. He is 4th behind Bonds, Clemens, and Schilling, and just slightly above Jeter in that category. By WAR, which is also era and park adjusted, by the way, Walker was one of the National League's 5 best players during his peak with the Rockies between 1995 and 2003. Coors Field is often held against him the way PEDs are held against Bonds and Clemens. I don't think Walker used steroids, can't say for sure. His only issue really was durability, but from the good old eye test, he was a Hall of Fame right fielder and one feared slugger when right. For a kid that grew up in a place where hockey rules, Larry Walker went on to have one heck of a baseball career. And no, I don't care what the voters say. He's a Hall of Famer in my book. That's your sports. I'm Bobby C.